Well, you're very welcome back to another episode as we look ahead to the World Games happening in Waterford this July. We cannot wait for it. So much excitement around it. And now we're coming live from Dubai because we have two guests that are going to be joining me now, telling me all about their stories to do with GAA. So I have Sean and Niall. Sean, I might come to you first. You might tell me a little bit about your own story and introduce yourself and your club too.
Yeah, so my name is Sean McDonnell. I'm originally from County Monaghan. My home club is Killanny Geraldines. I moved out to the Middle East about 6 years ago, and I've been involved with Sharjah Gaels since then. I suppose I've my foot in a lot of different roles out here. I'm the chairperson of my club. I'm a playing member. I'm vice chairperson of the county board, and I also do a bit of refereeing. So, yeah, that's me.
How you do all that, Sean? We're going to come back to that. And Niall, for yourself, tell us about your own story, your club, and the roles that you do out there.
Hi, I'm Niall McCague. I'm originally from Bray in County Wicklow. So my home club is Bray Emmets, and I moved to the UAE back in 2014. I've been involved in Jumeirah Gaels since day one when there was 3 of us in the club, and now we've about 150 to 200 club members involved. So it's been brilliant to see the growth of the club. And I served as chairperson for 2 years. I'm currently secretary of the club, and I'm also on the county board for a second time, serving as communications officer.
Oh, good stuff, Niall. Well, you might give us a brief history then of Middle East GAA.
So the Middle East GAA, it's probably one of the best examples as to how strong Gaelic Games is outside of Ireland. The very first games took place in the Middle East back in the 90s. There would have just been kind of friendly matches amongst a few clubs. And from there would have been 2 tournaments. There would have been the Bahrain Games in November, which still exists today. And we also would have had the Gulf Games in Dubai in January. So you would have had hundreds of Gaels across the Middle East participating in these events. And it was a real festival-like atmosphere. And to really kind of cope with the demand of the clubs and the players, there was a meeting around, I think it was September 2010. There was a number of delegates from a few clubs who came together, and they wanted to put a bit more structure on the competition to cope with these growing demands. And from that was the kind of birth of the league itself. Initially, it was just a 9-team men's competition. Then in year 2, there was a ladies competition. And in year 3, we had the camogie and the hurling. And just around that time is when the Middle East GAA County Board was formed. It's now the youngest of the county boards, should we say, one of the most active globally. And today we have about 2,000 members across 16 clubs. And those clubs would be based in UAE, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, and Kuwait. There's about 106 teams amongst all those clubs as well. And we have a real well-oiled machine in terms of our league and our championship, as well as a kind of a thriving underage structure as well. And it's just been fantastic to see the growth of Gaelic Games here in the region. It is really a home away from home. And no matter where you land, whether that's Doha or Dubai or Sharjah or Kuwait, there's a club, there's a pitch, there's a community. And it's just a great chance to meet people and continue playing the game that we all love.
That's incredible, and you can definitely see it's going from strength to strength. And I would think for someone like you, Sean, when you're moving over, what was that like to have something like the GAA to help you settle in?
Yeah, well, I suppose I've been involved with GAA since I was a young child. It's one of my first memories, being brought up to the local GAA pitch by my parents, and I suppose it was something that you wanted to get involved in. So when I first decided to move to the Middle East, I got a job in Sharjah, which is one of the northern Emirates in the UAE. The first thing I was looking for was, where's the closest GAA club? And it turned out there was a club in Sharjah itself, Sharjah Gaels. So that was the first thing I looked at when I went to move over. I suppose then, yeah, I really got involved then in it. Started off as a playing member, and straight away it was one of the first things I went down to. I went down to a training session, and really enjoyed it. And within a couple of weeks, I was involved on the Sharjah Gaels committee. I was involved with a couple of committees at home with my home club. So it was I suppose I brought that wee bit of experience from that. And I suppose it is getting involved with a club. It's a great way to meet people. Everybody's so welcoming, and it is that reassurance for people at home, when you're moving to a new place, and for parents at home to know that there is that community there to support. I suppose their sons and their daughters when they're moving away. You make many friends from it. So it's great to get involved in.
And Niall, I'm sure you saw that as well, just the impact that it has on people to have somewhere to go, to go training, to have a community away from home is so special.
It's so important, Aisling. Like I'd always say, the vast majority of my friends are either through school back in Bray or through the GAA as well, because you just have like-minded people with common interests. And I've seen the impact it's had on people here in the Middle East, where they virtually come over and know nobody, and within a few weeks they're involved in a WhatsApp group, they've lots of friends, and they have a routine where they can look forward to coming down training 2 to 3 times a week, meet some like-minded people from all across Ireland and all across the world as well. And it's just so important having an outlet, and so important being in a team environment. If you're 24, 34, 44, it doesn't matter. It's just great to have something to look forward to in the evening, just have a chat with a couple of people and keep fit and healthy.
And that's it. Well, Niall, you might tell us just about the players that you have. So I'm sure you have players from all different countries, but also from Ireland, and a lot of well-known players have gone out there too.
Absolutely. I think from a kind of international perspective, Aisling, just to touch on this initially, we've about 32 different nationalities in terms of player from Portugal, Spain, France, Congo, Bangladesh, Egypt. In Oman, for example, there's the Killanny Oman Club. 20% of their adult membership are all Omanis, a lot of whom took part in the last edition of the World Games in 2019. And I think the common theme when you talk to a lot of the international players is that sense of freedom they have when they play Gaelic games. When they play football or rugby, for example, you have offside, there's a lot more restrictions and rules in some of those games, whereas with Gaelic, they can just run around and enjoy it. And they love the friendliness of the Irish. They love that sense of positivity, and they love that kind of welcoming atmosphere. And that's what keeps bringing them back again and again. And then in terms of some of the big county players we've had down through the years, the big thing, Aisling, I'd say about this is just how much it kind of elevates the club that they're involved in, and also the league as well. It just makes the league so much more enjoyable to watch when you've got these great players there as well. And it gives you a chance to kind of learn different things from some of these players as well. But there's a massive list I could have listed off, and I've got a few here. I've got a few here that I mentioned. But we had Colin Fennelly involved. From Kilkenny. We've Eric Lowndes, he was involved, 7-time All-Ireland winner with Dublin. Jack Savage from Kerry was involved. Robbie McDade from Dublin. Shane Carthy from Dublin. Cha Fitzpatrick was involved at one point. Danny Neville from Limerick. Niamh Carroll from Wicklow. Cleena Blake from Clare. She's from Doonbeg. She's a class player. Danny Curran from Donegal. We had Paul Durkin and Ryan Bradley from Donegal involved at one point. Alan Freeman from Mayo. Jamie Malone from Clare, Niall McParland, former Down captain, Peter Atchison, former Tip captain, Grania Houston from Donegal, Nicola Fahy from Monaghan, Billy Power from Waterford, and then Ross King, he was the former Laois captain. That's just to name a few, but it's been brilliant.
Your name dropping out, Niall.
Yeah, there's too many names there. It could have named a lot more there, Aisling, as well.
Yeah, and I think that's great to see. And I'm sure that's really elevated the game, as you mentioned, having these players that have played at county level, what they would bring to a team and to a club.
Oh, big time. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Like, even from my own club there with Jumeirah Gaels, like we had, like Peter Atchison, I'd say is probably one of the best players to ever play in the Middle East. And when he came down to us, we were just an intermediate team at the time. I remember the year he came down, I think we went through the whole season unbeaten, and then we eventually got promoted to senior. And we've gone on to win 2 senior league titles in the meantime. And I can see that across every other club. All it takes is for a handful of big names to come in, and that really does help, elevate the standard around it, and also give confidence into players who are already high quality too. Just to have other people to come in and just lift standards and really drive things on.
Oh, I can imagine. And for you, Sean, just to bring you in there, what does a typical season look like for you and for players?
Yeah, so I suppose our season runs from October until April. That's our playing season. we start, I suppose, getting ready for the new season after our county convention in May, trying to set the fixtures. We have a couple of challenges in that sense. We have, I suppose, a different weekend across some of our countries. The UAE has a typical Saturday, Sunday weekend, and then the rest of the countries have a Friday, Saturday weekend. So that's one challenge. I suppose sourcing pitches is another. We have most of our pitches that we play on are either rugby and soccer pitches. So yeah, the training season for a club generally starts up towards the end of August. A lot of our members are teachers. So when the new academic season or new academic year starts, training generally starts as well. You'd have teams training, I suppose, 2 or 3 times a week. And our league season runs over 4 rounds. We have, and then it finishes off with a championship around April time. Our football, we've got a Super Sixes division, which is our senior division, and we've got a Division 2 and a Division 3 for men's and ladies. We've got 16 teams in both Division 2 and Division 3. And then our hurling and our camogie, we've got senior, intermediate, and we've a junior level camogie this year, along with some social camogie as well. The majority of our tournaments are blitz style. Well, all of our tournaments are blitz style. I suppose we play most of them in the UAE, but we do have 2 overseas tournaments as well. We've got one in Bahrain and we've got one in Qatar. And so that's a good opportunity for everyone, I suppose, to get together. We do have to adjust the start times of our games depending on the weather, I suppose, especially at the start of our season in October. We're still dealing with high temperatures, and towards the end, so we'd be generally starting maybe at 3 p.m. and finishing at maybe 9 or 10 p.m. This season, we've finished off our hurling season, and we've had to postpone the end of our football season, I suppose, due to the ongoing conflict. But we do hope to get it finished. If everything calms down, we do hope to get our last round played and our championship played.
Brilliant. Yeah, we hope so for sure. And you might give us an insight as well, Sean, just to the standard, like what would it be like compared to playing here at home?
Yeah, well, I suppose standard-wise, we have all standards. As I said, we've got our senior level, which would be, it'd be very high standard. We have, as Niall was saying, we've lots of former inter-county players, and we do play a 9-a-side competition with 3 rolling subs. And again, we're dealing with high temperature, so fitness really comes into it, especially at our senior level. We have 6 teams, and just to show the competitiveness, going into our final round of the football, we still have 3 out of 6 that can win it. So it is very, very competitive. As we go down the divisions, as I said, we have 16 teams in each division, and we changed that format this year to allow for that competitiveness. So we have, like for example, in Division 2, a 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and between rounds, a team can go up and down depending on their competitiveness. So it does allow players at all levels to play at their appropriate level. You're not stuck in a division. I suppose it is a very transient region. We have players coming in and out every year. So we do have, you're not always playing with the same players or with the same quality of players. So it does allow you throughout the season to find your level and play at an appropriate level.
Which is great. There's something for everyone then. Well, Niall, for you, what do you think makes the Middle East GAA so unique?
I think what makes it unique for me, Aisling, is it's just a home away from home. Like, I think all of us, we'd love to be back playing for our respective clubs in, say, from Sean and I's perspective, in Wicklow and Monaghan respectively. But, the clubs that we're involved in, they're our home clubs for now while we're out here. And what makes it unique really is just being involved in that team environment and playing throughout the season. Like, I love looking forward to each of the tournaments. And as I'd said earlier on as well, during the season, all the chat with your friends revolves around who's playing well at training. You're looking forward to the tournament taking place this weekend. When it's over, you're reflecting on it, and you do really feel a void in your life once the season's over at the end of April. And it's only when August comes around again and you're preparing for pre-season, that's when that excitement builds up again. So really, it's just that sense of community for me, and being a part of a team environment and continuing to play that sport that we love.
Yeah, and it means a lot. Well, Niall, I did want to move on then to the World Games. We're so excited about it. Do you mind tell me a little bit about your own experience when you've been there before?
Yeah, so the last edition of the World Games I was at was back in 2015. So that would have been the first edition that took place, and that was in Abu Dhabi. So that was a landmark moment for Middle East GAA. Fantastic to get down there and to see all the different teams taking part, especially the Middle East teams. I think a number of our Middle East teams had some great wins as well. I can still remember very clearly some of the players that were playing. I remember seeing Andreas Doyle from Wexford, he was playing, and Collie Coyle from Kildare. I always say he was probably the best ever player not to play for Kildare, because he moved out to Qatar at such a young age, and he's still in the region now to this day. And there was a number of my club men involved as well. So just brilliant to see how far GA has travelled, and just to see all the different units come together for this fantastic event. And I think that's going to really set us up nicely for July time, when we travel down to Waterford as well, and see from our perspective the Middle East teams take part, and hopefully bring home some silverware.
Well, hey, the fight and talk is out already. Well, it is such a celebration. John, for yourself, what is your experiences of the World GA Games?
Yeah, so I suppose the last World Games in Derry was my first time being at the World Games, and like my main takeaway from it was what just a carnival atmosphere there was from the very beginning of the parade down then the middle of Derry for the opening ceremony. All of those different cultures brought in. You've players from all around the world, from Argentina, from everywhere. So it was brilliant, just that. I was involved in the last World Games, I suppose, from an admin side in the Middle East, of getting ourselves ready for the World Games and appointing managers and looking after accommodation and all of that. And then I was also involved during the week as a referee. So I was up in Derry refereeing, and yeah, it was great. It was even as a referee, you're learning new things. You're seeing all these little things of all these different cultures being brought together. I suppose, and each team has their little thing. You have different. I remember one, for example, we had the French team, and they were playing the trumpet on the sideline, and we had different teams from all around the world with their different chants, and they're speaking their own languages. And one thing I really remember from it was the respect of those teams towards the rules of the GAA. A lot of them, they've only learned the game as adults, and the respect towards the referees was brilliant. They were, it was yes sir, and it was,
we need more
really
of that.
Yeah, we need more of that. Yeah. And I think we have brought some from it. We have the new rules and that have brought in last year in the GAA, and that has improved that. But yeah, it's great.
Brilliant. And refereeing, is that something you want to keep pursuing?
Yeah, well, I suppose I got into it as most people do by accident. I was a referee in Ireland. My club were looking for a referee, and I got involved. I think I was 18, 19 years old. Started off refereeing at underage level. I was still a playing member, an adult playing member with my club, so I was refereeing mostly juvenile stuff, and then I was refereeing different adult games. At the weekend, I'd be playing on a Saturday. I'd be refereeing on the Sunday, or vice versa. And then I was involved for a while on the Ulster panel of refereeing before I moved out. And then once I moved out, I think I was the first referee, the only referee at the time based in the Middle East. So I got involved with refereeing there. But again, it's challenging because you're playing and it's blitz style and they're on the same day. But I took up the role then on the county board as our referee administrator, and we've grown that massively. We went from, I suppose, myself being the only locally based referee. I think we've got about 30 now, which is great. Wow. So we're refereeing lots of our own games now, which is fantastic. We're less reliant on flying referees out from Ireland, and we're using that money that we would have spent to, I suppose, grow our games even further in the Middle East.
Which is great. Well, fair play to you, Sean. You're doing it all. And Niall, for yourself, what are you most looking forward to now in July for the GAA World Games?
I think just going out to support the local team, most importantly, Aisling, and seeing and catching up with some of the other units as well. I know quite a few people in the other GA units internationally as well, so it'd be great to kind of catch up with them and just enjoy all the action across the 3 days. I've never watched any matches down in Waterford before, to be honest with you. I know there was a bit down one of the previous years as well, so it'd be great to get down to support some friends who'll be involved in the various teams as well from a Middle East perspective.
Brilliant. Well, lads, it has been great to have you both on. We're going to be looking out for you now in July and see who's going to win. It is Niall that's saying it's going to be the Middle East that are going to be winning it.
We'll see. Hopefully. That's
Hopefully, fingers crossed, yeah. Well, just a final question before I let you go. Sean, for you, what has GAA meant to you?
Yeah, GAA meant to me. I suppose, as I said before, it's something I've been involved with all my life. It really is a community. It's the first thing you look for when you go to an area, is the local GAA club, and it is a community. It's a family. It's a home away from home. I suppose, as Jarlath Burns always say, it's where we all belong. Everybody has a place. You know, out in the Middle East, we have a very young demographic, and most of our members are, you know, in their 20s, in their 30s. So everybody gets involved. We have that one club model, and we really do build up a community. We have most of our administrators are also players, and they're coaches, and they're playing. So everybody gets in together, and really gets involved and builds that community.
Brilliant. And Niall, for you, what has GAA meant to you?
I actually think I wouldn't imagine life without the GAA. I've been involved with all my life, even since going down to the local club when I was 8, 9 years of age. And it's one of the big things that brings the best out of me. I love watching all the matches that take place all the time, and I love talking GAA with people. And I just couldn't imagine not being involved with it, even from a playing perspective or for an admin perspective. It's my favourite sport, and it always will be.
Amazing, lads. Well, thank you so much. That was great. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Aisling.
Well, just a reminder that you can go along and enjoy the GAA World Games in Waterford. All events are free and they're family friendly. They're taking place in July, on the 13th of July. That is the opening ceremony in John Roberts Square. And the games will be on in the SETU from the 13th to the 16th. And the finals will take place from the 17th of July in Azzurri Walsh Park. So loads to look forward to. Get along and enjoy.